You are plugged into what the church won't say. I want to share with you 9 things I wish I knew as a young man that would have changed my life. And I'm going to get right to it. The first thing I wish I knew comes out of Ecclesiastes 9 and 11. And that verse says, "Again, I saw under the sun, the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, nor bread to the wise, nor riches to the intelligent, nor favor to those with knowledge, but time and chance happens to them all." Listen, this verse is showing us that the most athletic people are not necessarily professional athletes, or the people who are the best singers are not necessarily going to be famous. This verse is telling us that not the best skilled rappers will be professional rappers and live off of it. There are people that are in basements and that's in open mics that are extremely talented and could do this on a worldwide level, but they never seize their opportunity. This verse is talking about time and chance happens to everybody. Everybody will get an opportunity to be successful, but 2 things must take place. One thing is you must recognize that this may be your opportunity to propel your life. The second thing is, before the opportunity is presented, you must already be prepared. You must have been practicing. You must have taken on the other responsibilities you had prior to this opportunity and honed in on your skill. So not only time and chance will happen, but you must be ready for it. The second thing comes out of Ecclesiastes 10 and 1, and that verse reads, "Dead flies make the perfumer's ointment give off a stench. So a little folly outweighs wisdom and honor." This verse reminds me of something I like to say is that it can take a lifetime to build an empire, but it only takes one moment to destroy it. And a little folly can destroy wisdom and honor. And so I want us to think about sometimes we must be as preoccupied with having the character to maintain the blessing that God gives us. Something else I wish I knew growing up comes out of Ecclesiastes 10 and 14. That verse says, "A fool multiplies words, though no man knows what is to be, and who can tell him what will be after him." I want to focus on the first part of that verse where it says a fool uses many words. And so use the amount of words necessary to express yourself. But when you get elaborate, when you're explaining yourself, giving too many details, you're going to mess around and incriminate yourself. You're going to mess around and say the wrong things or mess around and offend someone. The fourth thing I wish I knew as a young man comes out of Ecclesiastes 11 and 4. That verse says, "He who observes the wind will not sow, and he who regards the cloud will not reap." Do not look at your circumstances as a barometer if you should invest or should you step out in faith, should you start a ministry. Life is always going to be not ideal for all of these things, but whatever idea God is giving you and he's giving you the green light, step out. You don't necessarily have to have all the resources. You don't have to have all the knowledge. You don't have to have all the personnel. Just step out. Things will work itself out if this is what God had for you. So don't be scared and waiting for everything to line up. If you're waiting to have the perfect amount of money, or you're waiting on the situation to be ideal, you'll be waiting for a lifetime. Wait, let me ask you a question. Has this channel or the message you watch taught you, convicted you, or blessed you? I'm asking that you pay it forward by taking a few seconds out of your day, hitting like, leaving a comment, and activating the bell notification. It initiates the YouTube algorithm to spread this message to someone else. By simply taking a few seconds out of your day, hitting like, leaving a comment, it may be the very thing that changed someone's life. And if you're one of those people that say, "I don't leave comments, I don't even know what to put in the comment section," just put the truth. Jesus is Lord. The fifth thing I wish I knew when I was younger comes out of Ecclesiastes 10 and 5. And that verse says, "Even in your thoughts do not curse the king, nor in your bedroom curse the rich, for a bird of the air will carry your voice, or some winged creature tell the matter." Watch your words. Even when you're frustrated, when you think nobody's around, when you think it's just you and a coworker, be careful what you say, because things have a way of getting back to people in power. And I had a moment where that bit me in the butt, where I was actually trying to get more responsibility on the job because I was interested in being promoted. And for whatever strange reason, my boss at the time was not giving me this opportunity. She kept saying she was, but kept postponing it. And I started feeling some type of way about it. And in my frustration, I told a coworker, it's like she's trying to stunt my growth. And she heard it because my coworker, I said it, went back and told her. She heard it, and it changed the dynamic of that relationship. I said it out of frustration, and from that point, she looked at me as an enemy, as a problem, and it took me a while to win her back over. Life is difficult, but don't make the road more bumpy because of your mouth. The sixth thing I wish I knew when I was a young buck comes out of Ecclesiastes 1:8. Let me read that to y'all. It says, all things are full of weariness. The King James Version say all things are full of labor. A man cannot utter it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. And this verse is telling us that we're going to always want more. The eyes is going to want a brand new car. It's going to want a bigger house. It's going to want the house with the pool. It's going to want the house with the tennis court or the basketball court. And listen, we're going to always want more. But one thing to consider in all you're getting is an understanding that everything that you get will require some type of labor. People don't think about that. Yeah, you want the big house with all the windows, but those windows must be clean. Yeah, you want that pool, but somebody got to maintain that pool. You want that huge backyard, but somebody got to cut that grass. And no matter what it is that you desire and your eyes is seeking, there's always going to be some type of labor behind it. So count the cost. The seventh thing I wish I knew when I was a young buck is in Ecclesiastes 4:6. That verse says, better is a handful of quietness than 2 hands full of toil and striving after the wind. This verse is something we hear oftentimes, is that all money ain't good money. It's better to have little with peace than to have a lot with strife and frustration and anger. Sometimes the things that we desire is ambitious, but we haven't counted the cost. We may be looking for a particular promotion, for an example, but not considering that promotion may require us to be in more meetings, and we don't like meetings. It may require us to take more time, where it takes more than 8 hours in a day to do the job. And you may have another side business where you need your time. What I'm saying is, just because you can get that job don't mean that you'll be at peace, don't mean that you'll be happy, and don't mean you'll do a good job. All right, the eighth thing I wish I knew when I was a whippersnapper comes out of Ecclesiastes 7:16. That verse says, be not overly righteous, and do not make yourself too wise. Why should you destroy yourself? This verse is very unique. And what it's saying is, don't do the most. Sometimes we can love God so much that it becomes our identity, which it should, but we don't know how to relay that into everyday conversations, everyday job and duties and tasks. And sometimes when we should be talking about our job, we're talking about the Bible, and we're talking about heaven, and we're talking about scriptures, and everything has its place. But when you come overly righteous, you come off as preachy. You come off as a know-it-all. You come off as if you don't sin. And I definitely ain't telling you not to witness. I witness. I'm passionate about witnessing the people. But what I am saying is, do everything in its appropriate time. Matter of fact, the Bible says this. It says, love does not act unseemingly, meaning love does not act inappropriate for the moment. Be aware of the moment and don't be too righteous, because what you're going to do is you're going to strangle relationships. When people are really just trying to have a conversation to get to know you and you're talking about Christ, stuff gets weird. I don't want nobody in this world to think that Jesus never had a regular conversation about carpentry or the sun or the weather. Yes, he did. He was a person. He was a man. Yes, I'm sure he gave people the word and tried to lead people closer to his Father and reveal the principles of the kingdom. But guess what? He had regular conversations with his moms, his brothers, and his sisters, and you should too. And I'm not saying not only overly righteous, don't be overly wise. What that means, everything don't have to be a lesson. I can learn from this one personally. Everything's not a lesson. Everything is not a platform for you to teach somebody something, especially when they ain't asked you for no advice. And principle number 9, the last of them comes out of Ecclesiastes 12, 13, and 14. And that verse reads, "The end of the matter, all has been heard. Fear God, keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God will bring every deed into judgment with every secret thing, whether good or evil." I know this life can be so deceitful, and we're working and we're hustling and we're paying bills and we got kids and wives, businesses, we got health concerns. We got so much going on. Sometimes we can miss the reason why we're here. And the reason why we here is to share the gospel of Christ. The reason why we here is to know that a day will come where we will face judgment for everything we done in this body, whether it's good or evil. That means there are angelic beings, divine beings, God himself watching and documenting our speech, our behavior, our goals, our ambitions, what we did, what we didn't do. All of those things are being documented, and that day will come when we will give an account of all those things. So in all you're getting, and you're chasing of the bag with trying to thrive in this world, trying to survive, trying to make a dollar, trying to find happiness, trying to find love, remember this, that God will judge it all.